everybody. Welcome to Popcorn Planet, powered by Fandom Wire. I am Andy Signor with some new news today, finally confirming whether the new Planet of the Apes film that Disney is working on is a reboot or a sequel. Well, director Wes Ball finally has cleared some of the air. Let's go back and figure out what we already know about this franchise. As you know, this was a 20th Century Fox property that now Disney has taken over, and they announced that Maze Runner filmmaker Wes Ball would be taking it over. They called this a redevelopment treatment. Basically, that's what they're calling these sort of redos. So they could take all these films from the Fox library, and now they're doing their new redevelopment treatments of the properties. And Wes Ball, who made the popular Maze Runner films, is developing this new franchise or feature for the Planet of the Apes. Now, up until then, we didn't really know whether this was a reboot, sequel, or anything. And now, due to some new breaking news from Wes himself, he even has Twitter, working on the next chapter of Planet of the Apes. Even this on his pinned tweet, he had said, "I'll say this about Apes. I grew up with the original and absolutely loved the previous trilogy. I would only do this if I felt I could offer something special while still honoring what's come before. We have something that's shaping up to be an awesome chapter to this franchise." So everything has been vague up until this point, until now. Now, apparently, it won't be a reboot based off of what he said. A fan asked him this question on Twitter, and the question was, "All right, it's your turn. What's going on?" And then Wes went to say, "It's never been easier for film journalists to actually get in touch with the actual people who actually know, but maybe it's the point to not fact check these days. Regardless, don't worry, I won't ruin the surprises, but it's safe to say Caesar's legacy will continue." So right there, this Caesar's legacy will continue is now brought in all the speculation that this is not a reboot, a new version of Planet of the Apes. This is a continued chapter in the Caesar story. So hence not a reboot, but rather a sequel from Wes Ball. Look, I do want to sort of comment here, film journalists to get in touch with the people. Most filmmakers involved with Disney aren't allowed and won't say anything. So we're left to sort of speculate. But it's true. The best film journalists can call the studio for comment and either get no comment, and then everyone sort of runs with things. But this is Comic Book Movie saying it'll be a reboot of the franchise, is what Comic Book Movie said. And then I liked that this user pretty much called Comic Book out. "Sorry, Comic Book, you're wrong." And he said, "Don't worry, it's a continuation of the story." So calling out Comic Book Movie is kind of comicbook.com is Comic Book Movie, Comic Book. I get them all mixed up. Come to Fandom Wire is the bottom line, fandomwire.com. But comicbook.com totally got it wrong, and it's nice when the filmmaker can actually say, "Nope, actually, I know better." So while the filmmaker, look, we should be better. We report on a lot of things. We get so excited on stories. It's sometimes better to wait and confirm. And now that we've heard from the filmmaker, we can finally confirm that this new Planet of the Apes film is a continuation, not a reboot, based on the wording of what Wes Ball just said. Now, what do we know? That could change. Things could adjust. But what do you think? Could this movie work as a reboot? Would you rather see him start over? I think it'd be too soon for that. I don't understand what you do. At the same time, I wasn't as big of a fan of War of the Planet of the Apes. I thought Dawn, right? It was Rise, Dawn, War. I finally have gotten my brain to understand because usually the Dawn comes before the Rise. But Rise is a great start of that trilogy. I loved it. I thought that James Franco first one, watching Caesar, it was great. It was cool. It was worthy. It was a fun start of the franchise. And then I thought Dawn, that with Koba, when Caesar and Koba are he learns that even the apes have the bad apples and don't want to just do what's right for society. Even in an ape society, there's jerks. That conflict between Koba and Caesar's is my favorite in the whole trilogy. So Dawn still, by Matt Reeves, Dawn is my favorite. And I would say Rise is my second favorite. And then War was good. But it wasn't as strong. It felt too serious and strong, and I just didn't know where it was going. Woody Harrelson did give a crazier performance, but that it ended where it's like, well, what happens? Notice, without spoilers, the legacy of Caesar can still live on in those movies. What did that inspire? What's happening next? I would love to see more of a simpler story of now what? Do we go fast forward a lot? Is there a legend now of Caesar? Do we move forward into a society where there are still some humans and some apes coexisting? I would prefer that angle right now and see if we could tell some sort of shorter standalone pieces, and then maybe it grows to other ideas if filmmakers have the right idea, than just doing a whole nother reboot. We don't need a Tim Burton version. That's always the one in the middle that was like, notice even Wes Ball didn't say, I love the original and the new one. He didn't say, and the Tim Burton one, because that just one was a mess. I think he was trying to be too campy. A lot of Tim Burton's remakes end up being too campy. But I love what Matt Reeves did with that first trilogy. It was great. So what do you guys think? Is this exciting for you? Are you happy? I want to hear your comments down below. Two things. Are you excited that this is now a continuing chapter of the Caesar legacy? And which is your favorite of that trilogy so far? Did you prefer Rise, Dawn, or War? Tell me down in the comments below. You can go watch Fandom Wire over on Facebook, or if you're already watching on Facebook, you can check out Popcorn Planet over on YouTube. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have an awesome day. We'll be back with more content and announcements very soon.